I often get asked what kind of mat you should be using for Pilates, and the answer is you just need a mat that's thick enough so that your spine doesn't bump on the floor. Your spine should feel okay when you're rolling in the exercises or simply lying down or even lying on your hip. I'm standing on a professional Pilates mat and it's padded, as you can see. You don't need this kind of a mat. Any kind of a mat that you have at home is great. Usually a yoga mat is not thick enough. I find that it hurts my back to roll on a yoga mat. So I add either a towel for padding on top of it, or I layer an extra mat or two on top. The mat that I'm holding is a foam mat, and even though it looks pretty thin, it's actually quite padded. So that kind of a mat is great. There's links below this class to our store where you can see some suggestions for mats that we suggest. Other little props that I'll be using within the course are just things you have at home. I have a couple of hand towels that we'll use in phase 1, and I also use a regular household chair in phase 1. Phase 1 for using for balance and sitting and some exercises, as well as a tiny bit of wall space to lean on. And then in phase 2, we'll use the towels again, but 2 other handy things to have around are, 1, any kind of a belt. This is a yoga belt. To loop over your foot. It could just be a belt that you have at home or a bigger towel, as well as I have a yoga block. We're going to use this to sit on for one exercise, or actually a couple of exercises in phase 2. So if you have something like a couple of books, just a few inches, like 4 inches tall in a stack that you could sit on, that's going to help if you feel like tend to be tighter in your hamstrings and back. Okay, so those are handy things to have around, not absolutely necessary, optional for most people. And in fact, I'll give modifications that you can use instead of these if you don't have them handy. Okay, so I'll see you on the mat.